on today's video, we're going to be going over how to make an AK-47 gun charm from scrap silver. So as you can see, I'm adding some scrap silver that's very impure, about 90%, into a beaker and filling it to 100 milliliters with nitric acid. I'm going to heat this until mass majority of it dissolves or until it stops dissolving. I'm going to pour some of what did not dissolve out into a separate beaker and add copper, and let the copper, since it's more reactive, drop the silver out of solution. Then I'm going to add some more nitric acid to the remaining silver and let that dissolve and slowly separate out the two. This does take a bit of a minute, but it's well worth the time. You actually get a very nice product at the end. Once all the silver cement drops out, you're going to want to start going through your wash cycles. You're going to wash with dilute nitric acid. The quantity isn't that much. Your main purpose is to try to clear up the aqueous silver that's in solution. It'll constantly make your copper very muddy looking. So add it in there. It's going to react very heavily in the beginning. Let it react for a minute, then pull it out. I would say 5 milliliters of nitric acid to 50 milliliters water. And then after you do that, drain it off and then start your regular wash cycles. Hot water. You're going to let it boil, drain it off. Let it boil, drain it off. When you finish draining all of this off, you're going to let it heat until it dries. This drying step is very important because if there's a lot of moisture in there, when you go to blowtorch it or melt it, it's going to take longer than expected. A lot of the times it's much easier to do it on the hot plate than it is to do it with a blowtorch. When you're blowtorching this, make sure that you're using MAP gas and not propane. Propane will not do the job, I'm telling you. And then I'm using a graphite mold. I'm putting the mold as close as possible to while I'm melting this so that it heats the mold to at least 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This is so whenever I add it in, it's not instantly solidified and it dissolves all the water out. If there's water, that stuff will splash you. And people get burned all the time from not heating their molds properly. Next, we want to roll mill it. I didn't get any video of this because it's not very interesting. Just rolling it through a mill and then reheating it into a flat bar. I'm printed off a little silhouette of an AK. And on that silhouette, I'm going to glue it to the piece of silver itself. I'm using a razor blade to smear out the glue so I don't get it on my hands. And the entire purpose of this is just to get the silhouette on there. I really don't care about the rest of the paper. Once it's nice and glued on there, we go in with a jeweler's saw and have a little fun. So my first passes are rough ends. These rough end passes are just to take off as much material as possible. Sadly, this isn't the longest part, but it does consume quite a bit of time and blades. I tried some cheaper blades and they didn't work out as well. I ended up breaking a ton of them. Make sure you take your time with this. You're in no rush at all. Just ease on into it. You're making art, making a piece of art in some way. You need to slowly take off chunks, but you don't need to fly so close to the sun that you're going to have to restart, remelt the whole thing down, re-roll it out. It'll take more time to do that than it will to run a file over the top. Just out of curiosity, I would like to know you guys' opinion on what I should do with the downtime in my videos. Should I speed them up like I did here? This is at 7.5 times speed, cutting out almost all the downtime in the video, or should I do a step-by-step, more verbally matching the visuals? Should I add music to the background and just make it fully visual, or should I do an intermediate of them? Maybe a situation where I feel like I've spoken enough and maybe explained it, but now I need to show it. So I shut up, get out of the way, and just show how I'm doing it instead of yapping your ear off and put music in the background. I don't know. Get back to me. Let me know what I can do to make these videos more, let's just say, watchable or entertaining. Which one do you prefer? And I know better audio, yada, yada, yada. Right now, I'm doing with what I got. I got a Yeti Snowball Blue, and the thing sucks. For anyone that's monotone, it loves cutting out your voice. I have to do like 10 to 15 retakes certain videos that I make just because it takes some of my pitches but not the other. Slowly removing everything that is white. Since the silhouette's black, I will grind all the way until I meet the black proportion, and then I stop. I'm also looking in to see if it's level, because doing this, you'll start. Once you get the rough in, you move on to a file. I'm using a bastard file. This one's about 1/2 inch wide. And all I'm doing is going around the entire rifle. Silver at 9.9 is going to be extremely soft, and you're going to be able to really melt through this. So take your time with it. Just slowly ease that metal off. Now, one part that you're not going to see is the use of the Dremel. I really couldn't get in there to where you could actually use the footage I showed. It is really good on the areas like the trigger, the inside of the magazine, around the pistol grip. You can really get a rounded out portion on there. And all I'm doing is taking a Dremel and putting an end mill. This one's a 4-flute flat end mill, 1/8. And I'm just slowly edging out some of that material. Slowly knocking off a little at a time, because you can eat away at this with an end mill. After a good minute of filing, you'll finally start actually having an AK. It'll look the way you want it to be. You can do this with any silhouette. It doesn't have to be a firearm of any sort. It can be any type of keychain or pendant or anything like that. Hell, you can even make charms for necklaces. Something to really smooth over a bad encounter with a wife. All you need to do is really get good with the jeweler's saw and the Dremel, and then you'll be a master of the trade. And you can make some fun and nifty stuff. Now, unless you're doing tourist traps, you will not make money off this. People 90% of the time do not want to pay above and beyond for little silver trinkets, even if it's 99 silver. The most I've been able to sell these for is about $40 to $55 per one. And for the hours that you have to put into making one of these, it's not worth it. At the end of the day, you need to do this either for yourself or to get practice on showing others. It's a fun party trick. You're not going to go out and make a true living off this unless you go to these tourist traps and you make these little pendants that you can sell at the tourist trap. That's a momentum. Finally, the last thing you need to do is sand it. So I'm doing 25 grit, 100 grit, 1,000 grit, 2,500 grit, 30,000 grit, and to get it to this nice, beautiful mirror finish. And if you made it with me this far, I heavily appreciate it, guys. If you have any suggestions on stuff I need to do next, please comment below or hit me up on X or whatever you call Twitter. As always, have a good day.